Hello guys, and welcome back to Strategic Command World War II World at War with our Axis playthrough. We have made it into May of 1941. Operation Barbarossa, if you can call it that, something resembling it, has begun, although it's a little bit different. Because we also have Turkey and Yugoslavia on our side, with some really well-equipped Yugoslavs pushing into the Caucasus. The Turks kind of getting ready, they joined pretty late. Everyone else is pushing. Of course, we are early, just after the winter has passed. There are interesting Soviet situations right now. We lost a destroyer over here, our first ever, German ship loss. Maybe our first German loss in general. So these bastards have to pay. And there's an entire British fleet right here that I really don't know how to deal with based on where my resources are. I can't deal with the entire British Navy. They have some real big leeway in that department. I'm tempted to take the Italian fleet and go start a fight because they wouldn't be able to respond very quickly to that, I would think. However, we have to keep our main goals in mind of how we are going to win this campaign. We're not reacting. We're not the Allies anymore. We must conquer the Soviet Union. That is the #1 most important thing. And after that, before it, if that was at all possible, I don't think it really is right now, conquering Egypt as well. When we accomplish these two things, then they may just surrender. That's what I read would happen. And then we win. And so that's the goal. And so we got to get moving. So let's look at the easiest part of the Soviet front first this time, why don't we? And that's down here in the Caucasus, where unfortunately there is a certain amount of partisans here. A lot of them are near oil spots or on oil spots, because of course you gotta threaten my oil. That oil would be really probably handy. Wait a minute, 3 MPPs each, that's it. Only 3 MPPs each? There's mines in France that give like 16, yeah. Wow, I got that number exactly correct. So much for the Caucasus oil. This is supposed to be a big deal. It really isn't. Anyway, let's get started with our turn here then. So the first thing I want to do, I know this guy's going to move up, so we might as well just follow the road here. Step off of this spot, because the HQ is going to move onto this spot. Because he needs to stay in a certain range to keep up with bonuses. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4. So someone left a comment, I remember, because I've been asking about not understanding why minor HQs seem to reach a different amount of units than major HQs. And he said, I believe it's 5 units plus the command and control level. But he should have reached these guys too, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, my command and control is that high. He should be able to reach all these guys, if that was the logic. I still don't really know how this works, but I think maybe the rating has something to do with it. I'm really not sure. We'll take the Bosanska Corps, and we're going to move that towards Baku. And they have units on Baku. Oh my god, what the fuck? Oh. 3 MPPs per strength point. Oh, that number says 30. Oh my god. 30, 60, 90, 120? What the fuck? What is the income of the Soviets right now? Graph MPPs. What are they earning? Like 500. This is these 4 hexes are 120 of their collected income. Oh my god. Oh my god, that is so much more than I imagined. Oh my fucking god. 2 MPPs per strength point. Oh my Jesus Christ. Wow. Okay, that is worth a lot. If we can get this quickly, we can take a lot of versatility out of their army, I'm realizing. I've already started moving the army, so there's no going back on that. We're just gonna keep going down the road for now. I don't see any enemies. There's an enemy, and he chose to attack me. We traded 1 for 1. He's defending Grozny. So, fortunately or unfortunately, as you may look at it, they have corps here defending these locations. This is fortunate because it means they're not on the front, and the front is going to be what's driving towards Moscow, And it's this front, really, that's going to make the push that ends up winning us this war. This one's just to secure a bunch of resources and distract more units if possible. Would these units stay here if this front did not open? I don't think so, but I think anyway that this is a pretty clear-cut situation. So we're going to take the Bosanska Corps, move it here. Wow, so much. Oh my god, this guy's at 7 strength. Upgraded with 1 anti-air. He's not even at full strength like this one. Wow. I guess he was never quite up to snuff yet. And then they just kind of didn't have the time and MPPs to do anything about it. I know the Brits have infantry weapons 1 now because they're starting to assign it down here into Ethiopia, which is, or Egypt. Sorry, I got the wrong African country that starts with the letter E there, apparently. Let's also move up the Belgrade Corps. Okay. We'll move up the 6th Corps. This army, well, maybe he wouldn't have done as well. I mean, look at that. Look at those odds. But I feel like if he wasn't caught off guard, he would have had a better chance. I feel like I used the army in the exact worst way I could have used the army, but it's whatever. It's okay. And then we have these guys. I guess the Bitaliska Corps, because, alright, here's the garrisons. Here's the partisans, and I'm going to need to move garrisons there or use corps. I want this Yugoslavian group staying as mobile as possible. That's what I'm going to endeavor to do, anyway. I'll take the Bitaliska Corps and move it onto this road like he's moving up north. I guess it doesn't really matter if I send more over here, because this guy, look how weak he is. Let's just, you know, attack. 2 damage, yeah, none taken. 1 damage, none taken. I feel like this will still be enough to deal with this, especially seeing how much the Soviets are generally going to be hurting anyway with the scale of this invasion. So I'll also take this one. I think I'll move it on the road as well. And just kind of aim to encircle up here, maybe? That's kind of my thought. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So let's go ahead and move the Drovska Corps up to there. I think that'll work out pretty well. Turks, I'm gonna leave you alone for now. Building you up is not really my goal right now. I took Yugoslavia so I can make Greece easier and build up some more units earlier. That worked pretty well. I took Turkey primarily for the location, but the troops will probably help in the long run as well. Since I've chosen such a just like spread down the entire front line strategy here, I don't really have any strong points to focus on. So the way I handle all of this is going to be very open-ended. So let's just go to the very top for right now. We'll take this corps, the 12th Corps, and we're going to attack this garrison because this corps is, I believe, across a river, and I stand no chance against it with my corps. So let's attack the garrison again, which I believe we did before. I think we did a bunch of damage to it. That, or there was a plane right here and I hit that. I don't really remember. Let's attack. 4 damage dealt. Okay, that works. I don't particularly worry about a garrison, so I'm gonna take this tactical bomber. I'm gonna spend it probably right here, because this is kind of like a hard point I need to break through to get towards Riga. There's also Wilno, but Wilno can be a lot more easily surrounded than anything up here can. There's just way more units down here in general who are also going to be able to kind of like go after Minsk towards Smolensk and Moscow. I believe it's needed more up here. So we're going to bomb this. And they have interceptors up here that they're running now. But I have my escorts. I can't see damage numbers if he's half off my screen. So I don't know how much we hurt him for, but we hurt him. But our fighter also got hurt. And we lowered the readiness and morale here quite a bit. We were going to deal 3 damage with a tank attack. We will now deal 4. I believe I will use this corps for the less important job of mopping up this garrison. And there you go. Garrison mopped up. We take the little village. I'm going to move the undamaged 3rd Army forward towards this enemy corps. Kind of provide a little bit of a bonus against it. Okay, I see what they're doing here. They're doing this everywhere. They did this down south. I thought this was a weird thing, and it really is. They're forming a defensive along the river, and they're also doing it up here. Rather than pushing up to meet me, or taking refuge around towns or against my front line, they're trying to press up against the river, seemingly in hopes that I chase after them up against the river. It's smart enough, but you need to be able to cover a whole front to do this. Remember how I used the swamp and the woods and the river. Kind of like, I didn't even need to though, because I got the jump on them. This will work to slow me down with the units that are going straight at them, but with this big of a line, I wonder if they have the actual units needed to stop me from just breaking through. I think I have a generally good idea of how this is going to look, so I'm in no rush up here. We're not pressing through Riga as easily unless they decide to abandon their defensive positions. So I'll move the first army up as well, not actually healing it, and boy, look at the difference in what these two can do. With one strength difference and some readiness and morale differences, probably because of the amount of strength. This is a pretty clear-cut situation. Let's go take the tank and assault the city with the core in it. 5 damage dealt. We were supposed to deal 4, so that's awesome. We might just be able to wipe it out. Hello? 5. We just two-shot that bitch. We just two-shot that bitch. Holy fucking wow. Okay. Well, let's have the first army move into the city and secure that then. The tank doesn't have anything else in it for attacking right now. I'll take this tank and I'm gonna move it over here. Kind of forming my own little defensive line, if you want to call it that. That's not why I'm forming it though. I figure the first army next turn will have an opportunity to rebuild, reinforce itself. The tank is in good position to actually advance or get its advanced tanks level 2 in. This is the next pretty clear-cut situation I have to look at. The Africa tactical bombers don't really have any other capacity to hit anybody else. I don't think you could still bomb with a bomber after you move it. This rifle corps is completely out of supply, readiness, and morale, so this is going to be pretty easy. We bomb it, we dealt 2 damage. That's good enough, I guess. We need to move these forward. All these need to move forward once we're kind of done sorting through this. Let's try to use the already injured core that's on Brest-Litovsk to finish this core off. Okay, perfect. So he's dead. He can just spend the next turn reinforcing while sitting in his happy little fortress that he's entrenching. I have 2 tactical bombers in one place down here, so that's fun. These are my only other 2. They have 2 options. Lwów, I don't know how to say that. And Cowl. Cowl? I don't know how to say that. So I'm going to have this one go for Cowl because it looks like this one can just get more out of that attack. 1 damage dealt. Nice. Not sure if I should double down. Probably not. This guy's pretty entrenched. We'll probably want to spread it out. Yeah. None of them really needed an escort, so that's nice. That means I can reinforce these fighters. Get them up to strength again. Because the Africa fighter was the one escorting all of them, but none of them needed an escort. Oh yeah, look at this. Entrenchment isn't even down, but like readiness and morale is enough that these are all so squishy now. Now I'm going to move some armies up. The 4th army, okay, well, you know, they're both in the rear. They don't have mobility, so they have limited movement range. The 4th army will go up towards Wilno. Okay, so there's an army next to Minsk, not on it. The 8th army will move up towards Minsk. We need an army in this direction. There's a heavy tank next to Minsk and an army on Minsk. Minsk is very well fortified. You know, for a second, I was actually tempted to take this core and move it up here, and now I'm really glad that I didn't. Because I would have run face first into a fucking tank. Imagine walking out of a forest into not just tanks, the heaviest tanks that the Soviets had to offer. I know I had literally just mentioned not moving this core to heal it, but I'm gonna move it still. We're gonna move it into these woods along the road because I need to move the von Rundstedt HQ to Brest-Litovsk instead because someone needs to move up with these troops. And we're gonna have a very weird split here, to be honest. But it's a split that's gonna work. Honestly, the split is working so well already. These HQs, these 2 right here, they're not even doing anything. Look at this one supporting 1 core that can garrison. And that's all they're supporting. Nothing else. Because the German HQs apparently are more than enough and are just supporting all these, like, quote-unquote coalition forces. Like, this is very modern American terminology. I'm thinking of, like, Afghanistan or Iraq or something. Axis minor forces. I'm tempted to try to pull off some flanking thing here to get some more combat bonuses against this core, but I feel like we have a pretty good chance already with what has a prepared attack. So we'll try with just this stuff for now. 10th Army against the enemy 8th Corps. We dealt 4 damage, we took 1, so not exactly what you'd hope for, but functional. I'll take the 1st Corps and attack 2 damage. Damn! This is just not going the way I would hope. We'll take the 30th. Oh, XXX Corps. Fucking Christ. Oh, great. And we'll move that forward and attack and wipe out the 8th Corps. And now they're dead. And now everyone can be happy. We'll secure Cowell with this 10th Army. It's going to have a chance to recover, probably. We'll move the 1st Corps forward, kind of scout ahead towards Zhytomyr. I could move up further. Don't really think that I want to do that, but I could. We'll have to move another HQ up, so that should probably be Cowell, honestly, anyway. But I'll look at that later. We also need to secure this city, so let's take the army, the 14th Army first, and have it attack. It's already injured. Alright, that worked out pretty well. 5 damage dealt. That was better than we were supposed to do. 2 more cores with prepared attacks, and then a tank. I want to rely on the cores. 1 damage dealt. Oh, and damage taken. So gay. 6 Corps. 2 damage dealt. The 27th Corps will move up and finish off that enemy and take some damage. He will secure the town for me. This army will just move up for now through the fields. This corps also going to move up for now. Kind of helping form a little bit of a front line here is what I'm kind of thinking. We have this corps that can also move forward. I'm tempted to move it all the way up here because what I want to do... Oh yeah, the Slovakians too. I want to shift the Hungarians this way along the front against the river to keep them close to the Romanians while the Germans kind of detach. So let's take these paratroopers first and have them attack. 5 damage dealt, and we've actually made that enemy corps run away. That leaves me, some interesting opportunities here. We're gonna move the Slovakian corps forward, down the road, and attack the corps that ran away. And voila, another Soviet corps done. This isn't gonna be nearly as deadly of a turn to the Russians as the last turn was, but I think it's going pretty well so far. I'll take the 6th Corps and I'm going to move that up here to the front. We can see some light tanks by Zhytomyr. Well, okay. 3rd Panzer tanks are going to move up. Still haven't upgraded them. But we're trying to push as fast as we can, as far as we can, while we don't need to recuperate. So, I'll take the 1st Corps, I'll move it up to Zhytomyr. I'll take this 10th Army, I'll move it up down the road. This HQ will move to Cowell. Should be fine. Like, what are the chances that someone's lingering in the marshes, waiting to pop out and attack an unsuspecting HQ? I mean, seriously. I don't know. So let's move Von Lieb up to Cowell. The 3rd Panzer tanks. They're going to move up here towards Zhytomyr. Ooh, and boy, are there some juicy targets. Wow. Dude, it's 7, which means, you know, it... and probably what was on Baku here. I don't know, this has been upgraded. I feel like they just spawned in. I don't know why it's the way it is, but this is such an easy target, so I'm gonna attack with 3rd Panzer tanks. 6 damage dealt, but it's not dead. As tempted as I am to not waste a Panzer attack, getting literally just 1 damage, I want to finish their light tanks off because tanks are very valuable. Can I see the price of light tanks? Can I recruit light tanks? Does Germany know what light tanks are? They don't. So Japan knows what light tanks are, and they're worth 200 MPPs. That's more than a corps, less than an army. That's worth 4 garrisons. That's a big deal. So I want to kill that. So I killed it. It's gone. Perma dead. And I'm quite happy about it. Meanwhile, the 2nd Hungarian army is just gonna run down the line here, pretty much like I was saying. Be funny if they try to like cut them off here, but the zone of control now extends here, so I think this actually works out pretty well. May tempt some of them off, to be honest. That'd be pretty interesting. I'm gonna reinforce the 1st Hungarian army up to strength. This corps, the 1st corps, is just gonna sit here for now And the paratroopers have already attacked. They can't really move anywhere useful, but they can go ahead and prepare to jump again and maybe get behind the enemy lines here to a undefended town or just next to someone that would make them a little more vulnerable. I'll move each of these tactical bombers forward, just kind of southeast for both of them. Keep them close to what they're dealing with here. Supply will be okay, so we'll put fighters in a forest, as weird as that sounds. Keep them nice and guarded. I'm going to commit pretty resolutely to taking out this core at Wilno this turn. So we're going to move this core up. We're going to move this core up. We don't really have the best of chances, but we also have a tank we can use. And that can get all the way up here, which is pretty crazy. And team up with this army to get started eating away at it, and the cores might be able to finish it off. Alright, so let's try to make this work. We're going to go all the way around. Really? Only one? Okay, shit. Well, let's start with the army. 2 damage dealt. Let's go with the tank. 1 damage dealt. Fucking kill me. Not really, please. 4 down. Okay, that's better. That's better. We have a chance. Who has more action points? You do. 2 damage dealt. I'm happy. 1 damage dealt. Hey! Hey, it worked. It worked out. Good. I didn't want to leave this tank alone out here. It's safe from the left because of the forest here is going to impede movement. Now it's safe from the southwest, like it has its supply line due to Wilno being taken. It can't really be encircled or inflanked effectively because of the army being here and its zone of control. It can be approached, but that would take a lot of enemy forces to do. Don't know if they're willing to commit that much to taking down a tank, but if they did, they'd probably have to get off the things that they were defending. So, maybe that wouldn't be the worst thing. I will move up the Rommel HQ to right up here at Canis. Von Bach will move up to Memel. I imagine we'll see some shifting as here pushes forward. Rommel will follow. Von Bach will probably shift a little bit. But for now, he's good where he is. We're also going to move these planes up. Now, let me look at the range real quick. What is the range here? Strike range of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, good. I'm going to move the attack bombers up here. I don't want to move them past the river because there is the slightest chance that this probably will never happen, but AI is very suicidal, right? I wouldn't put it past AI to be like, oh my god, there's a plane right here? Let me send everything to blast through one army, get myself encircled, just to kill that bomber. It's just not something I want to deal with, and that's the kind of thing that AI does. I'll move this fighter up here on the other side of the river as well for the time being. We're going to move the Africa bombers towards Minsk. Towards Minsk. And we'll put the Africa fighters, I guess, right here. These paratroopers have not really done anything this turn, so what they're going to do is prepare to jump. The Frontier Corps is going to move in front of them, lining up across the river here and helping protect the kind of region that we have set up here. So I'll do something a little risky. I'm going to take the 2nd Corps. I'm actually going to move it up here into the marsh a little bit because it's still maintaining this front line. We can now fully see that there's nothing in the marshes to really challenge us. The marshes, you cannot entrench in. However, they protect you very, very well. Let me show you. From light armor and tanks, which we're literally staring at, as well as a little bit from just normal attacks. Now, you don't want to be here taking arty fire or bombing, but I'm hoping that there won't be any bombers here. There's certainly no arty. Arty has to be pretty close. I'll tell you, I really do just want to send this corps down southeast because it's the easiest thing to do, but we have way too many troops down here compared to up here. I can understand why. There's a lot of stuff to go through over here, but if you count the Yugoslavians, this is more than accounted for. We're going to move further into the marshes then. Have the corps, the very mobile units, get in position to maybe start sneaking through the marshes. I mean, we have enough supply going in there already to be at least set up here to then move up through the woods, depending on what happens. I am very conflicted on what to do with the Romanians. Odessa needs to fall. It's an important location. It blocks off Crimea from me for now. I can just leave it surrounded, but that's a lot of manpower to keep this corps bottled in. This corps' readiness and morale is not the highest, but it's fully entrenched right now. I don't have bomber support over here, and my chances of getting bomber support over here is not very high, just due to how moving things works logistically. I really don't want to be so efficient as to take 2 armies and subject even one of them to a 2-to-1 KDR against a core. That might sound just like my standards are super high, but I'm fighting AI, my standards are super high. This seems like a waste, but I feel like the money I'd pay in reinforcements would make up for that. And the money, everything that could be saved by simply pushing faster on this front. I'm a little worried that them taking damage could be a bad thing, given the front line right here. But the idea I have is kind of that this German force will keep pushing through here and get behind these guys, forcing them to leave so that the Hungarians and the Romanians don't actually need to even push through them. That's my idea. And then you have the paratroopers over here to maybe jump behind them and kind of assist with this plan. I'll go ahead and suck it up. We're going to take the 2nd Romanian army first, and we're going to attack the enemy on Odessa. Oh, come on. Oh, we were supposed to deal 2 damage and take 1. We dealt 1 and took 2. That's awful. We lowered the entrenchment at least. So let's go ahead and attack again. We dealt 2, took none. Okay, that helps make up for it a little bit. That's something. I don't really want to attack across a river with a core. I really don't. At the very least, 1-to-1 odds wouldn't be the worst. I was tempted to use this as a shield for this army, but that might leave this open. The zone of control might help, but not if this army's injured. So we'll just attack. 1 damage. Just taking literally all my worst nightmares about fighting for Odessa and just stuffing them in my face and making them worse. I'm sure there's at least one person watching this that deems that this is the stupidest thing I've done all episode, but really, in the long term, I think just pushing through this and through the fortifications, because that's the worst of it, right? It can only re-entrench 1 per turn. It's out of entrenchments. I think this will just save so much time and money in the long run, just by keeping the, entire Romanian army freed to do things. But really, what am I doing? I'm arguing with myself over something that I don't actually know that anyone will have a problem with. Looking into Finland, they moved up this core and this one to face me down at the Mannerheim line, which is a defensive position set up to face into Leningrad from the Finns that they just annexed. So they're like facing the wrong way with no entrenchments. My Isthmus army here has maybe not the best supply, but it's fully entrenched. And it's, oh god, the supply is just terrible up here in general, isn't it? Yeah, yeah, it is. I don't know if they have an HQ up here. Their men, oh my god, no, they don't. They may not have an HQ, but they have Leningrad, so they have tons of fucking supply. We're gonna attack, is what I'm trying to say. 3 damage dealt, none taken. Okay, that's not so bad. This core, I don't know if I should move it forward. I feel like I should. Look at the fucking supply, bro. Where am I even gonna put a fucking HQ? Where am I gonna put an HQ? Where? The fucking supply can't reach over here because it's connected to 2 different roads. And then how do I attack twice? I need to attack twice. This is too good of a situation to not attack twice. Okay, I'm gonna test it because it's hard to test what supply will be. But I'm gonna move this guy forward. Right? Okay. And look at supply. Oh, wait. Here you go. Look at supply. Still 3? Are you fucking kidding me? And only 5 and I'm standing right next to you? That's gay. Oh, actually, oh no, wait, he's leveled up. I'm so confused why it's like this, but we need to attack. So I'm going to move up anyway and attack. 2 damage dealt. 1 taken, unfortunately. This guy's going to have very little supply. Oh my god, we're facing down against so many different enemies. This is terrifying. I'm gonna upgrade the Helsinki core. Infantry weapons, anti-air. That's what I'm gonna do. What is supply here gonna be? Probably terrible. Yeah, fucking awful. I'm gonna use this as an opportunity to get some advanced fighter upgrades in, however. And I think that will be good. This isn't gonna be the easiest front or the nicest front, but they're not ready for me. They need to reinforce, so I'm not in danger right now. I'm taking advantage of a situation that's in my favor to deal 5 damage to a core and take only 1, and I doubt that they'll really attack and do any more. But okay, there we have it. That is the entire Russian front, as I can envision units that are taking part in it. Still have more stuff to do with Germany. We have Italy to look at and all of Japan. So that's going to come next episode. But hope you guys are enjoying this. Hope you're approving of my strategies. Hope you think my strategy from the first episode will work out. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.